Hi everyone, today we're going to use watercolor paint. At your table you will see your watercolor paint tray, your water cup, and then we have two different sizes of brushes. We have a really skinny brush and then we have a thicker brush for bigger areas. Your watercolor paint, you might notice if you touched it like this, it would not have any paint come off onto your finger. That's because watercolor paint is dry until you add water to it. The water will wake it up. So when you use your brush, you're going to dip your brush in the water and then you're going to dip in your color and swish, swish, swish lightly. You'll see that as you start to swish in your paint, you're waking the paint up. Let's test it out. Now you can see your paint works. You have 3 worksheets at your table. We're going to start with this one first. We're going to practice painting some lines. Take a pencil and write your name on the top of your paper. Using your watercolor paints, you're going to use your skinny brush, the one that looks like this. Dip in your water and then dip in the color that you want to start with. I will start with green. Swish, swish, swish. I don't need to press too hard, just lightly. And then I'm going to practice making this loopy line. I need to use the tip of my brush. Now, when I say the tip of my brush, I mean the very tippy toes. I don't want to press my brush down because that's going to make a really big line. I want to make a skinny line. So I'm going to use the very tip of my brush. Holding my brush like a pencil, I'm going to paint just as if I was drawing. Now, I'm going to switch colors. So I'm going to take my brush and wash it off into my water. Swish, swish, swish. Now I'm going to use blue. So I'm going to use some water, swish in my blue. Swish, swish, swish. And now I'm going to try this wavy line using the tip of my brush. I'm not pressing too hard. Wash my brush and I will grab a new color, maybe red. Here's something that will help you remember to use the tip of your brush. Imagine your brush is a ballerina and she's dancing on her tippy toes each time she goes onto the paper. Wash my brush. You can try all the colors if you'd like. Now you're going to paint all of these different types of lines here. When you finish, you're going to switch to this paper. This paper, it might look like not very much at all, but this is one little piece to our Mona Lisa mural that we're making. So I'm going to switch to my big brush because this has really big areas. Taking my big brush, dip in the water, and I can use whatever colors I want. And I'm going to paint in the shapes that are on my paper. If I notice that my paint is running out right here, I have to dip in my water and dip in my color again to get more paint. Wash my brush when I want to change colors. I'm going to switch to red for this area. Paint all the way. Miss Buettner likes to say, vacuum up the white spaces. Voot, 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 voot. Wash my brush. I'm going to switch to a new color now. I'm going to use blue for this big space right here. I'm going to paint my whole picture. I am not going to have any white spaces showing when I'm done. That's why I'm using my big brush, because I have to paint a lot on this paper. Remember, you can use whatever colors you want. We're making a rainbow Mona Lisa. I'm going to switch to one more color. I think I'll paint the rest of this yellow. So I washed my brush and I switched to yellow. I'm going back and forth nice and smooth. And when I run out of color, I need to dip in my water and dip in my color lightly again. Watercolor paint is very light. It's not supposed to look very thick. You're supposed to see your paper through it a little bit. So if you can see your paper through it a little bit, you know you're doing it right. Almost done. I'm vacuuming up the last bits of white spaces. Whoop, and I am finished. All right, Finally, I have one last paper. This one's blank. This is my free time. I get to paint my own picture. Now here's something that you could do. If you would like to draw a picture with your pencil first before you paint, that will help you to see your picture better. I just drew a rainbow, and so now I'm going to paint my rainbow with my colors. Look at that. You can draw and paint whatever you like for this last paper. When you finish, make sure you put your name on the front or the back. Happy painting!